So welcome, my friends. We're just bantering here, Roy and I, talking about our week. I hope you guys that are watching us are doing well. I hope you had a good week. And I was just telling Roy that I'm finally free of certain deliverables about hanging over my head. It's always good to be free. And Roy, today we had a session that was really more about the world of Agile.
Awesome.
So it got a little bit heavy because now I was holding their feet to the flame and asking questions that were
Yeah.
more from an agile perspective, talking about MVP and the product owner. And, there were questions about, oh, so the team is actually that powerful and things such as that. Can you talk about this whole philosophy, this mindset? Give us a little reboot of the mindset just to help us here.
Absolutely. So let's talk about so agile is really two things. First, agile is of course a set of processes and practices that we follow. But more importantly, agile is more about the mindset and philosophy and culture of an organization. Just as an example, so we prefer cross-functional, self-organizing, empowered, stable teams. And that's a very unusual thing to have in a more project-focused, prescriptive kind of hierarchical type of organization. Now, there's huge value in forming that kind of a team because instead of just having a collection of individuals that are responsible for their own personal results, we would prefer to have a team working very closely together for the team goals, the team accountability, team ownership. So you have a group of people that work really well together and they help each other out. So if someone's getting stuck, you have other people that can help out and perhaps mentor, or even if it's just to get them coffee, something to help them have a slightly better day and to improve their productivity. So that's often a very different culture than what you see in a lot of organizations. Most organizations are more traditional, hierarchical, command and control, where they have a manager or a team lead telling them everything to do. And we instead kind of take the approach that people are adults and people are smart and they can contribute better when they're not told what to do. There's a great quote that I like to use. It's, I don't want to work for a company that values my output, but not my input. So we really want to encourage people to feel wanted, to feel needed, to feel that they matter. And that's really the big cultural change. It's a lot more about the behavioral aspects and the psychological aspects than it is just about the processes. The processes are important, of course, but the people and how they behave is far more important. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Roy. I mean, that's extremely refreshing. Thank you very much for that reboot. Coming from the predictive world, a lot of us struggle, and then when we think we're finally, Hyde, we become Jekyll again and go back and
Yeah.
forth. Split personality. But today I wanted us to kind of take a look at these so-called tasks from the
Yeah.
business point of the world.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got the sheet in front of me to make sure that we're covering things appropriately. So thank you, Phil,
Cool.
for sending that little outline. It's very, very beneficial.
Awesome.
So a lot of what we're going to talk about today, and maybe I should share this, or would you like to share, Phil, or do you want me to share it?
You can share. Cool.
Yeah, let me share this then. All right. There we go. Sorry, one second. There. Screen one, and awesome. Okay, so there we are. Let me just get my chat window. For some reason, this always gets rid of my chat window when I do this.
I like the dark layout. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the dark layout too. It's pretty nice. All right, well, there it is. There's my chat window. Okay, sorry about that. All right, some of these things you're going to be very familiar with. These are, a lot of these come from more traditional approaches. However, there are many cases we do them a slightly different way. One thing that I want to encourage you to remember is just because we're doing Agile doesn't mean that we're going to throw out all of those great things that we do from a traditional approach. We still need risk management. We still need to worry about compliance. We still need to worry about all of those things that you would normally worry about in a traditional approach. So the difference, though, is that we might do them at a different time. We might do them in a slightly different way, but they still need to be done. Managing risk is important. Making sure we're compliant with regulations and things of that nature are very, very important to us. So let's start let's start with the first one. That's plan and manage project compliance. So some of the things, it's not just project compliance, obviously. It's also, we might have some regulatory and legal and all those other kinds of compliance things that we need to worry about. So take it as an example, Americans with Disability Act. So that's a regulatory need. We need to make sure that our projects, especially if we're doing user interface kind of applications, things like that, need to be compliant with those regulations. Now we do it slightly differently in Agile. In more traditional approaches, you might do it, with more documentation and reviews and that sort of thing. We do something slightly different. And one of the things that we do is we create something that's called a definition of done. Now, let me back up and talk about what definition of done is, and hopefully this will make a little more sense. So if you remember from our first session, where we talked about Scrum, we do work in small increments. So they're called sprints. So it's typically a 2-week period of time. And at the end of that 2-week period of time, we're expected to have produced something of value to our customers. That's the goal every 2 weeks. Now, to help us understand what is done and what's not done, we actually define it. We define done. And we say these are the things that are necessary to consider the work completed. Now, we do that for a couple of reasons. One is we want to start to shut down that done but kind of concept. I'm sure you've had that where you ask somebody, are you done? And they say, yeah, I'm done. All I have left to do is this and this and this and this. So they say they're done, but they're honestly not done. In Agile, done is a very binary thing. So you're either done or you're not. That's pretty much it.